everybody, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody on February 14th, today on Tuesday. I'm so glad to be able to come on here and say that. This is Helen Panos, Dynamis Learning, and we are here today. I'm here with a couple guests. It's a special day, so I had to bring on some guests with me, right? So we are talking today about when we start loving ourselves, it's contagious, and our children learn to love themselves too. I think this is an excellent topic. Thank you very much, Lynn. I thought that was awesome that you came up with that on a day of love, right?
It's a collaborative effort.
And Amber too. Yes.
Yes.
So I wanted to, reach out to you guys. First of all, Dynamis Learning Academy. We are a K through 12 tutoring business, and we do SAT, ACT prep. We do nationwide now as well, because we are doing tutoring in California. We're doing SAT and ACT prep in Idaho and Texas. So, and we were just doing a study skills webinar. I wanted to say something to Lynn about this because there was a Canadian on there. And I was offering a free webinar, and I've had Lynn on my podcast before, and I'm pretty sure she heard me on your Taking the Helm podcast. Okay. Small world, right?
Sure is. Fantastic. I love the connections.
So I'm going to introduce my guests, and they can say a little bit more about themselves, but I'll start with Lynn McLauglin. Served on 3 different school boards as a superintendent of education, principal, vice principal, teacher, and educational consultant. She is now retired, but is anybody ever really retired, right? I should say retired from the school system, right? In addition to her business, Lynn continues to be active in education, teaching future educational assistants in her local college. She actually hosts, I mentioned her podcast. It's called Taking the Helm. I was on there December 28th, and that was exciting. Lynn is on my podcast, so you can catch that on my website, dynamislearningacademy.com. And so she continues to be active in education. So, and she's an award-winning and best-selling author, which I'll let her talk about later in this episode here, and dedicated to community causes, a member of 100 Women Who Care, Windsor, Essex, and works tirelessly to support the goals of the Brain Tumor Foundation of Canada. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. I appreciate it.
You probably don't have to add anything, right?
I have to cut that down.
And Amber Raymond. Amber is works with Lynn in conjunction, and they do some things together. Amber, would you like to introduce yourself? I'm gonna let you do that.
Yeah, I kind of messed up and forgot to send my bio, so
that's all right.
Share it with you. Okay, so I'm a master's level social worker. I also have my French degree, but I specialize in helping people find themselves, discover who they are, and really optimize their life in a way that helps them feel happy, like to achieve a true state of happiness. I also run a program that teaches kids mental and emotional skills so that they can basically develop all the emotional tools that we need before high school, where we're presented with a bunch of really challenging situations. So if we are better equipped before those challenging times come, then we have a better chance of making like better choices and more healthy choices, which leads to a lifelong happiness.
Yes, that's very important. So I'm going to start with you and ask you a couple questions, if that's good. So how does self-awareness lead to healthy relationships and genuine love?
Okay, so I think that this goes back to that little cliche saying, like, you can't love someone else until you love yourself. But for me, the way I like to explain it is that if you don't genuinely know who you are, you don't know who you want to be with. You don't know what kind of partner you need. So I use this fun visual that, say you think you're a butterfly and you go out and you start dating a butterfly, and then you do some work and you get to know yourself and you realize that, oh, I'm an iguana. Well, you can't really date a butterfly if you're an iguana. Like, they just don't go together, right? So self-awareness really is about getting to know who you are at your core. Like, what do you need in a partner? Do you like to communicate your feelings when you're having a hard day? Well, then your partner needs to be patient and be a good communicator as well. So ultimately, it's about figuring out what your gifts are, what your expression of love is, so that you can find somebody who you match with and achieve that love. and the
That's
understanding.
interesting. You should say that. My husband's just like that. What you just described, and I'm just the opposite.
Right? Opposites attract for sure in most cases.
He's a great listener, and I'm a good talker.
There you go. We're both a blonde.
A lot of patience, right?
Yeah.
Now, how can we recognize or know that we are receiving or feeling love?
Okay. I think that there's lots of fun quizzes, but if everyone's not heard of it before, there's something called the 5 love languages. There's a lot of resources for it on Google, but really it's about, again, it goes back to that self-awareness, like knowing if you are a person who really benefits from physical touch. If you have a partner who doesn't give the physical love, then you will not likely achieve that sense of love. And it's not that the other person doesn't genuinely love you. It's just that they don't give love in the way that you need it to receive it. So if you know that you're, for example, someone who likes acts of service, but you have a partner who isn't really present in your life, like maybe they work a lot and they're not there to contribute, then you might not feel loved. Even if they come home and they're hugging and they're saying nice things, it might not really resonate with you because you are a person who needs acts of service to feel fully loved. So I would encourage everyone to go on, just Google search the 5 love language quiz, and then you can go on and figure out like what is your love language. On that quiz too, or on that website too, you can even look up like what your child's love language is, because it's not just about relationships with your loved one, like your romantic partner, but with your kid too. Like if you think that buying your kids gifts is going to make them feel loved, but for them really it's quality time, then even if you give as many gifts as you can, they might not feel loved on the receiving end of it. So it's really important to know like what is your love language. What is your partner's love language?
I'm smiling again because I swear you're like reading me or something. First of all, it's Gary Chapman.
Too, Helen.
I actually gave this book to my husband because I was divorced before, and it's interesting you should say that because I'm not sure he got my love languages, but my husband does. And there's the book, folks, if you're interested in the book. I didn't realize he does stuff for kids too. So is there a quiz for kids?
Yeah, there's one specific for like kids' love languages, like for parent-child. And there's also one for like specific for men, like the love languages for men. So it uses like a lot of explanations and stories that resonate more with men.
So I bought that book and gave it to my husband for his birthday when we were dating. I said, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice.
Knowledge is power.
Oh, how cute. Wow, that's awesome. So Lynn, it's your turn. So how has being self-compassionate changed your life?
Well, I want to mention that I am Amber's aunt. She's my niece. My sister, just 10 months younger than I actually, is Amber's mom. So, I mean, we're connected that way already, but she has taught me so much about self-compassion. It's something, you know, I wish I discovered a long time ago. The way I explain it, and I'll just talk about our business together because we've entered into business together. I'm that, like many of us are, A-type personality. I got a plan. I've got a schedule. I've got a date. I got a time. I'm doing all the legwork. And yeah, that schedule can deviate a little bit because things happen. But boy, when you have to postpone your book launch because supply and demand issues, when all of these things are happening, and I was getting upset, and Amber was just so chill, like, so what? So it's not meant to happen right now. Maybe it's meant to happen this way. And oh wow. So I'm rolling with it now. You know, I'm just rolling with it. I don't, you know, we're 2 weeks past what we should have. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And I tell you, so in terms of my well-being, oh wow, I've let a lot of that stuff go. That pressure, that worry, you put it aside. So if we can give ourselves the ability to be self-compassionate and just say, okay, so what? Things happen, life happens, and you move on, then we also model that for our children too. And they see us more as humans as opposed to the people who bestow things upon them. So I want to thank Amber publicly. I've done this before because I'm a lot healthier and happier because of that component of self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yep. Well, you know, a lot of leaders do have that kind of type A personality, right? You wouldn't be successful if you didn't, I don't think.
I think you can still pull in the self-compassion though, if you're aware of it, becoming aware of it and just giving yourself time daily, even to reflect, is not just driving to and from work, like we all do. Just have
And
to,
that actually makes the best leader. You're correct about that, where
Yeah.
they can balance both of those, right? Because being a superintendent or principal, all that, one thing I think teachers complain about is these principals don't get them, or they don't understand them, or they're not listening to them, or that kind of thing.
The tongue comes down to communication. The door's open. Go have a conversation. That's what I always say. Whenever there's a conflict, it's about, I don't have enough information, I have misinformation, or I don't have any information. Normally, when you communicate, you can solve 90% of those problems in education.
True.
Yeah,
that's true. So how can we recognize or know that we are whoops, sorry, wrong question. What's the most important gift we can give our children to develop their emotional well-being?
I think it ties to everything that and we've all been talking about, being aware of. Yamber talked about the thing for children, and the self-compassion. It's building emotional literacy. But how do we do that as parents when we never talked about emotions growing up? And I don't we just talk about them. I think the most important thing we can do is open up our eyes and our hearts to talk openly about how we are feeling, the reasons we're feeling this way, and make it a regular part of every single day. If I, for example, and I'm not alone, how many of us have blown up with our children at some point? It happens. What is wrong with saying, I'm so sorry. I had a horrible day at work. You did not deserve that. I apologize. Then our kids see us as human, and we start to model that open communication. And that's when, if we can talk openly with our children in our own home, that's when we start to be able to put our eyes on them when something is off with their emotional well-being, with their mental health, when they're struggling with stress, when they're struggling with worry. We have to make it just a regular part. Talking about anything openly, I think, will bring us a long way in giving them the tools that they need. We have to learn them ourselves first. Or maybe at the same time, we go through it and we learn those things together. But I think that's critically important in this very challenging world our kids are growing up in today.
And there's a lot of resources out there. I was going to say, find time to, read about these sources, get information, go on to people's websites. Like Lynn has some things, I'm sure, Amber does too. And there's just so much stuff out there available. Go to the old bookstore, right? There's still some Barnes and Nobles around.
Yep.
And Canada may be something different. Amber, are you in Canada as well?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So I know we want to talk about your book series, Lynn. Do you want to, either one of you want to talk about that? I'm going to say on the ticker here where people can get it, because I know I'm getting some.
Yeah, go ahead, Amber.
Okay. I think that the purpose of the book is to really just give parents and teachers and kids the resources they need to start doing what Lynn said, was start talking about our emotions, really understand what are the different emotions. Because I think that what's missing a lot is people don't actually know what emotions are. Like when we were taught as kids, we're shown a picture of a person smiling, and that's supposed to be a person that's happy, but anyone can put a smile on even when they're sad, right? So our hope is that this book will help people learn to start talking about their emotions, but also be motivated to figure out how they feel these emotions in their body and like how they present them. So the book, it takes place on the planet Tezra. It's just a planet that we came up with. Each character is based on a different crystal. So each character is the colors of the crystal that they are named after. And each book gives like a different scenario that every child has been through or will go through in their lifetime, whether it's being excluded from a social group or trying a new sport. And it helps walk each person through how they can address that. So each book teaches a new approach to grounding or coping that is based on research and evidence-based research at that.
That's awesome. Now, what age group are those books tailored toward, would you say?
I'm going to jump in because I just was at a school this morning reading, and I read the first book of the series, I Have Choices, to 2 kindergarten classes and also a grade 4-5 class. So, in Amazon, when you have to pick your target, we've been saying from 3 to 8, but every age range takes it differently. Your younger children, if you're reading to them, they're enjoying the characters. The older ones are actually starting to understand and adapt the strategies and apply them to their own lives. And we also have an educational tool and questions that parents and educators can ask prior to reading, during reading, and after reading as well, because the most important thing is them not just understanding their emotions, understanding why they're having these emotions, and then what can they do to bring it forward. And as I was saying to the kids this morning, we have these emotions for a reason. You know, we worry for a reason. We're scared for a reason. And sometimes it's telling us that there's danger out there, but other times we've got to take control of it and say, okay, now what am I going to do to take this to a good place? It was such fun this morning. I just had such a blast. I got to say, I just loved it.
I bet the kids loved it too. They love it when outside people,
the little ones. Yeah, it's fun.
They love it when people come in and read to them. Well, thank you very much, ladies. I've got the link down below, folks. LynnMcLauglin.com/books. I know I'm going to order some for my godchild, and I'm looking forward to her learning all about these things from reading these books. I know it's going to be great stuff. So, any other last minute thing you guys want to add about?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Good. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I know. I was gonna say,
love, self-compassion. Yeah.
All the love to everyone. Go, say nice things to everybody, even people you don't know. Just tell them you like them, you love them, hug them, and have a terrific rest of your day, folks, and a great week. I will be back soon again. Take care for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.